Welcome everyone to yet another episode of ColivingDAO Insights. This is your co-host Daniel, and I'm joined today, as usual, by my co-host Gareth. Hi, Gareth.
Hey Dan, I'm really excited to be back today.
Awesome. Yes, we are back. So great to have you here, and great to be here with all of you as well. We have a lot of exciting news today, so let's crack on. And specifically today, we will be talking about co-living, of course, as we usually do, but more importantly, we'll be talking about how to find your tribe and your vibe with co-living. So it's not just any co-living, but I know that a lot of you either are passionate about co-living, or maybe you're digital nomads, maybe you're remote workers, or maybe you simply don't want to live isolated in a single family unit just by yourself or with a couple of people. Maybe you want to live with more people and therefore you love co-living. Maybe you're a co-living operator, maybe you're a host, maybe you have your own facilities. So no matter what your connection with co-living is, as humans, we definitely thrive where we have people around that are potentially like-minded to an extent, or at the very least in line with the type of people we want to meet. And that's not always very, very easy, right? So what we're going to be doing today, we'll be looking at what's currently happening in the co-living space and how you can find your tribe and vibe, right, Gareth?
Exactly. So there's a lot of issues around how do you actually find your next co-living space if you're a co-living resident or a digital nomad? How do you find the place that's right for you? The good news is there's so many co-livings to choose from these days, right, Dan? So there's like 400 in Europe and even more than that around the world. That's great, but with 400 co-livings, even if you went to every co-living for one day, it would take you more than a year to even, sample what it's like to live in each one of those co-livings. So it's a really big challenge actually to choose where you're going to live, right? What country you're going to live in, what kind of people you want to connect with, what kind of activities you want to get involved in. There's so many different decisions. And so we're going to dive deep into that today, and we're going to look at it from every angle.
Yes, and so much on offer, so much to choose from, but not everything is right for everyone. So let's look at how do we really find the best fit. And if we look at how we originally found Co-Living Earth, I can speak for myself. It was almost by accident. I was looking for places to live, flat shares, house shares, apartments. And I found something that was kind of new to me. Like, what is this? A co-living? That was quite a while ago, of course. So right now, most people are familiar with the concept. Some people are not yet, but at least it's not as novel as it used to be back then when I found my first co-living. But it definitely happened by accident. And I saw it, I thought it was great. And then I went to live there. And then shortly after, more people moved in. And most people also either found by accident or they were referred by people already living there. So people that wanted to live with others, the most obvious thing would be either just hear about a co-living space and then, oh, that sounds cool, maybe I should check it out, or just asking around, getting some word of mouth, getting some opinions from close friends, which is great. But at the same time, as we have more and more co-living spaces, how do we ensure that we can actually find the ones that are the perfect fit for us? So based on this, we noticed that, okay, maybe something can be improved. Tell us about your experience, Gareth. How did you find your first co-living space?
Yeah, you know the story well, Dan. So for me, it was also an accident. I was getting more and more into the entrepreneurial space, and so I really needed a place where I could co-work. And so I got curious one day and I Googled, can I live where I hot desk? Because I thought, why not have a place to work that's really near or even better in the place that I live in? And that's how I discovered the very first co-living. I didn't even know co-living was a thing back then, and that's how I discovered the first co-living where we met and became friends as neighbors. It was purely by accident. And then I went round to check the place out with a friend. And that after the tour, the friend said, if you don't move here, I'm going to move here. So, it made a big impression and it literally came out of nowhere.
Awesome. And yeah, sometimes we really cherish how spontaneous and unpredictable life can be. At the same time, we also experience the opposite, right? We were in a situation where we were looking for a co-living space and we didn't really know where to look. We asked a few people, but there was nothing that really was a good fit for us. So we started looking around and then we found something and then we went there and it was a little bit different from what we thought it would be. So we did experience the other side of the equation as well, right?
Yeah, we did. And we did go and have a look at other co-living spaces, and they had very different atmospheres, very different flavors, and it felt so different from the place, from the first co-living that we lived in. A lot of them just didn't feel right, and they didn't have great facilities, as well as not having the right atmosphere, the right connections. And then we checked out a serviced apartment that had co-living like facilities and amenities and a community spaces like a shared living room, a gym, and some other like shared spaces. So we thought, okay, this serviced apartment looks like it could be a good bet. It's got very good facilities and it has shared spaces. It looks like there might be a bit of a community vibe here. But that didn't really turn out to be the case, did it?
Spot on. Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to tell in advance. So you can see these beautiful facilities and think, okay, if there's a massive co-working area, maybe a lot of people will be working from there and have drinks after working and play pool in between working sessions and chats during the breaks and all that. Or it's just going to be a very dry place where not many people really go, or maybe they do go, but they don't interact that much. And it's hard to tell without really living it. So, again, finding a space and also understanding what your experience is going to be in that particular space can definitely be a challenge. And we're talking about a situation where we had the luxury to see the space before deciding to move into it. A lot of the times, when effectively someone is looking for a space in a different country, and if I'm traveling right now, and we'll be traveling quite a bit in the next few months, so if we're traveling looking for a space, we don't necessarily even have the ability to see physically in person the space before moving there. What this means, it's really critical to have a system to really find spaces that are going to be in line with the type of experience that we want. And it doesn't mean that we try to predict everything. Some things are just unpredictable in life. It doesn't mean that we want to limit the possibilities. We're very, very open to whatever arises. But at the same time, if we move into a space expecting, for example, a certain type of vibe, a certain type of social opportunities, events, and just people being friendly, people being interested in certain things that I'm also interested in, and so on, then we definitely want to maximize the chances to have that type of experience. So that was something that we've been through that. Everyone is listening to this. I would invite you to think about this. Have you found yourself in a similar situation? Maybe you were looking for a space, you weren't quite sure which space would be the best, and you picked one, and maybe it was great, maybe it was not so great. Maybe you had very different experiences in different spaces, but more importantly, you were not able to predict that before going there and having already made that decision to spend a certain amount of time there. I know people that cut their stays short in some spaces because they didn't find it as rewarding as they thought it would be. I know people that decided to extend and stay longer, but sometimes they don't always have the ability to do that, and sometimes they regret not having booked for a longer time in advance. So we've seen a lot of it. And Gareth, let's a little bit more about why it's so important to really have the ability to surround ourselves with a certain type of people, with either like-minded people. It doesn't have to be exactly like-minded. We love variety as well, but people that are a great fit for the type of experience that we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just to round out the story of, our first co-living versus the serviced apartment where we became flatmates for a while, and how those experiences contrasted. So the co-living we lived in was very social. You would come home at night and people would be hanging out in the lobby, chatting, playing card games, or maybe even just come home and say, "Hey, do you want to into the city and do something together?" There was always something going on, and there was always a lot of people connecting. And then in the serviced apartment that had the same or better facilities, better physical spaces, that just didn't really happen. You would come home at night. The lobby was very much like a corporate hotel type feeling. It's not a very comfortable place to hang out. And then you move into the social spaces and there's nobody there. There's a TV room, there's a co-working space with some people on laptops, basically working alone in their own space. And there's just no community feel. The physical space was there, but the community feel and the social fabric just wasn't there, which was really surprising to me because it had so much potential when we went to see the place. Because I thought, oh, this place looks really comfortable. It's got an amazing physical space. This will be great. This will be like the original co-living, but even better because it's more modern and it has these amazing spaces. And of course, this focus on space and the way spaces are designed is exactly the mistake that many of us make or that designers of places make because buildings do not make a community. Spaces don't make a community. It's the people that make a community. It's the social fabric. It's kind of this invisible X factor, and we're not quite sure sometimes why a community has this social fabric. Why do people hang out? Technically, the people in the serviced apartment where we lived were very similar young professionals to the people in the co-living, but they behaved in a very different way. Serviced apartment, people mainly had their own lives. They wanted to do their own thing and occasionally interact and like, play a game of tennis or go to the pool and have a swim. But it was very much the other way around in the co-living space where the same types of people just wanted to hang and do cool stuff and get more involved. So yeah, there's that secret sauce X factor, Dan, that really makes a community much more engaging and is kind of what we're looking for in a co-living, right? That's what people are looking for.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of it comes down to intentionality. Some people move to a space to do their own life with minimal interaction and just have the ability to play the occasional game of tennis or pool or something else, maybe have the gym there and so on. Whereas other people, they move to a space not to be specifically in that space, but because they want to interact more and more with the people around. And really, leverage the social advantage of being in a space that has connections with others as opposed to being fully isolated. So intentionality is a big thing, and also having the facilities that actually favor connections and interactions. We've had episodes here where we spoke about how architecture can really foster connection. So if you're a co-living operator or developer, you definitely want to have a look at that. And when we're talking right now about this general trend where there's a lot of emphasis on the buildings and the facilities, but not so much emphasis on the people. We had a lengthy discussion about that on this very podcast as well, not too long ago, right, Gareth?
Yeah, I believe it was episode 22, Why the House Share Market is Broken. And exactly that, like you go to platforms to look for a place to share an apartment or a flat, and the listing mainly focuses on, the physical space, how many bedrooms, whether or not you can smoke on a balcony, very, very physically focused things rather than the human connection. So we did a big deep dive, and if you want to check that out, go and have a listen to that episode there.
Absolutely. And this is true for shared apartments, is especially true for co-living, because when people move into a co-living space, what's the point other than connecting with people? I mean, of course, convenience is a big thing, cost might be a thing as well, but a very big motivator for people moving to a co-living space is to have like-minded people around them. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to be with other entrepreneurs, or maybe you're a digital nomad and you want to meet other digital nomads so that you can travel together, go somewhere else, meet people with a similar lifestyle, have similar challenges, similar goals in life. Maybe you like something specific. So we've seen there's a lot of co-living spaces that are centered around something. Maybe you love yoga and spirituality, and you want to be in a space where other people also love yoga and spirituality. And you may have some other things that are not necessarily in common. Great to have variety in life too, and meet people from all walks of life. But at the same time, as humans, we need some sort of common ground. So if you are someone who's, for example, an entrepreneur and lives life in a very entrepreneurial way with a lot of degree of freedom, maybe if you're in a space where everyone else has a maybe very happy, successful career, but without any entrepreneurial spark or desire, maybe it's interesting for a little bit. You might start to feel a little bit isolated and say, okay, am I the only one who has these ideas of building things? Everyone else just finds satisfaction in a lot of different things. And conversely, it's the same as well. Again, there's no right or wrong vibe. It's all about understanding what's your vibe that you want to have, what type of people you want to surround yourself with, and having tools to find those people, find those spaces, which at the moment we realize that, okay, maybe there's a bit of a gap there, a bit of a lack. And we notice that by being in the space, looking for spaces, we notice that by seeing other people looking for spaces and not always finding the right ones, right, Gareth?
Yeah, exactly. So how do people find their next co-living space? That's the question, right? How do they actually do it, Dan? Right now, if you were to go and look at your next co-living space, what are the options available to you?
Yeah, that's a great question because, as we mentioned, other than the word of mouth and hoping that somehow some of my friends has already been to a space and they recommend it to me, or maybe I can ask around and say, "Hey, has anyone been to this space? It looks great from the pictures, but what's life there? What's life like there? What's the type of experience I'm going to have there?" So if I don't have the luxury of already being in a network with people that can point me to the right direction, and even when that happens, I mean, it's still one data point, right? If I have one friend who's been there, great. Maybe they've been there a while ago and things have changed, or maybe they were there and they had a great experience for one reason, but they didn't mind about something else and they're not conveying that to me. So again, it's a great way to find spaces, but it's not very reliable. We don't always have the ability to connect with people that have had the experience before. And so right now, the go-to place is obviously the internet. So a lot of people who go online and start searching, and that's already very problematic because whether you're searching simply on Google or a search engine, or whether you're using a directory, we know there's a bunch of directories out there. The first thing you need to know is the location, because all the directories that we've looked at, first of all, they ask me for a location. So where do you want to be? And then I have to decide, for example, a country or even a city. But what if I don't have a country in mind? I don't have a city in mind. I have an experience in mind. I know what type of people I want to be with. I know what experience I'm looking for. It doesn't matter to me if it's like Spain or Portugal or Greece or somewhere else. Maybe that's the first thing I'm thinking about. But yet I have to first pick a location. So if I'm open to multiple location, I'm already spending hours just manually looking for each space. And then I get a map and then I have to explore the map. And I can only guess. So if I'm looking for something to scuba dive, I can only guess, okay, this is near the sea, I can scuba dive there, but maybe not, I'm not so sure. I have to literally open every listing, check every review, make up a mind. By the time I do that, I've already spent countless hours and I'm probably even more confused than I was before. So we noticed that this is pretty much the experience for a lot of people right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. So all the ones we checked, every sort of search function for spaces, for co-living spaces in particular, they always say, what country do you want to go to? It's not that helpful for Europe. There are many countries in Europe. And as you said, Dan, there's so many similar characteristics in terms of like, okay, I want a place near a beach. There's lots of beaches. Okay, I want a place in a small town. Okay, there's lots of those options. It's very difficult. It's like the search engine makes you do the work that the search engine is supposed to be doing to find your next space. And then, word of mouth is fantastic. If your best friend comes and says to you, like Dan, if you came to me and said, I just stayed in this amazing co-living space, that's enough for me. I'd be like, okay, I need to go and stay there for a bit. But we just don't have that many trusted nodes in our network, as many like close enough friends that understand exactly what our particular preferences are. It just doesn't work. Word of mouth, you get lucky. And with the search engine, you kind of have to know where you're going before you even know where you want to go, which defeats the whole purpose of it. So how do you find the people and the connections and the vibe that really suits you? And the answer is doesn't really exist, does it, Dan?
Well, it didn't used to exist, but as you obviously know, Gareth, we are very happy to announce that we have actually built a new way, or should I say, the new next generation way to find the co-living space, and more importantly, find your tribe and your vibe by finding the space that really fits you, really suits you. And that's something we've been working on for a while. You might have noticed we've been in stealth mode for a little bit, and we built something that we believe you're going to find extremely valuable, whether you are a co-living enthusiast looking for your next co-living space, whether you're a co-living operator wanting to connect with more digital nomads and also attract the right digital nomads, the right residents, the right remote workers, or simply guests. We have built something that is unlike anything else you may have seen so far because we have spoken with multiple people just like you, and we've understood what it is that is not there, and if it was there, life would be a lot easier. So I'm very excited to share this with all of you. We have built a Colivly.ai, and in a moment, Gareth is gonna give you a quick demo as well. And the beauty of Coliving.ai is that it makes the process a lot more human without you needing to be already a co-living veteran, having a lot of friends that have been to every co-living space in the world. We know co-living is a growing industry. A lot of people that never heard of it before, they hear it for the first time. How are they going to find the right way in? And now there is a way in, but even if you're an experienced one, you will find the hidden gems, the ones that you didn't even know they existed. And that's why I'm very happy to share this with all of you. Gareth.
Yeah, brilliant, Dan. So let me share my screen and we'll do a little walkthrough of Colivly.ai. Can you see that okay, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so for the time being, we're focused very much on Europe. So you can find your co-living tribe and vibe in Europe. So this is what you see when you come to the homepage. We are doing a little bit of a promotion. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the first thing you come to is Authy. So Authy is your utterly possum guide, spot the pun, to finding your next co-living experience. So Authy's kind of like that friend where you've got the word of mouth recommendation, and you also have the power of the listing and the database behind it to really dive deep and find exactly what kind of people you want to connect with and what co-living suits you. So if we just go ahead and have a chat with Authy. So let's say, what am I looking for in my next co-living experience? Well, I'm a bit of a beach bum when I'm not working, and I love a bit of surfing. So can Authy find me somewhere that would be really good to hang out with other surfers? So I'm just going to say, hey, Authy, I like surfing. And then Authy will come back. And again, this is kind of like chatting to your friend, right? So if your friend's been traveling around the world and you might say, oh, I really fancy another surfing trip. And your friend says, oh, by the way, I stayed in this amazing co-living that also was a surf house. Then Authy can really come in and help you find that. All right, so he did come back. There he is. Okay, so Authy's come back already and he's gone straight into three recommendations. And he says there's three great co-living spaces in Europe that are good for surfing enthusiasts. So he's actually given a range of locations here. The first one is in Fuerteventura, which is one of the Canary Islands, which just so happens is one of my favorite places to go surfing. That's a Spanish island. And the other one is a place in Ericeira on the Portuguese coast, which is also a great place to go surfing because a really good friend of mine, in fact, recommended this exact space, this exact co-living space. So you can see that Authy comes in and really gets straight to the point. If you have an interest that is suitable for you and the type of people you want to connect with, there's also this kind of adjacency connection where some places, as well as surfing, they'll do yoga, and people that are more active outdoors, it kind of comes hand in hand. So by looking for interests, you can really get straight to what you're looking for right away without having to go through a huge listing, right, Dan?
Exactly. And as you can see right at the end, Audie is asking, do you want to go deeper into any of these options, or do you want to kind of widen your search? Maybe you want to tell me more about what you're looking for and I can find something else. So you're getting some recommendations straight away, but you're also getting the ability to give Audie more data points, more preferences, more of your preferences, and you will receive further suggestions as well. So you can see right now we've added yoga and outdoor living. And in doing so, we now got a couple of other recommendations as well. So the whole point is that you can finally have that conversation that you normally have with a friend. But if you don't have a friend who's been to 400 co-living spaces, you can't have that in real life. But now you can have that with Audie. So Audie is going to become your best friend when it comes to sharing the experience of living in a co-living.
Great. So that's a little demo of Authy. We'd love you to check it out. If you're actively looking for a co-living space right now, perfect timing. Go check out Authy on coliving.ai. And also, Dan, we've got a bit of an offering for the co-living operators, right, on the other side who are in the listings.
Absolutely. So right now, if you're a co-living operator, you're seeing this, you may be wondering, wait a second, am I listed on this directory? Am I not listed? And if I'm listed, are people finding me? Are the right people finding me? Because I know it's been a big struggle for a lot of co-living operators, not only to find enough guests, but also to find the right type of guests because you have a certain vibe, certain shared values and principles, and you want to keep that community feeling in your specific space. And it's not always easy if you're getting residents from Booking or Airbnb. You don't always get the right type of people. Let's be honest. Sometimes you get people that don't really care about community, or maybe they have just very different lifestyles, very different values. And then the other people also suffer because of that. And there's complaints. And then the community loses the appeal and people lose the motivation of living in that particular space. They're going to move out. They're going to not recommend the space to other people, and you're going to struggle. So right now you have this opportunity, first of all, to be listed. If you're not listed yet and you want to be listed, or if you're already listed, but your listing is not optimized because we haven't had a conversation and we haven't personally interacted, your listing might be there, but not optimized. So what you want to do is get in touch. You can get in touch in multiple ways. You can email us at audi@colivly.ai. So that's Adi@Colivly.ai. You can also send us a message in multiple ways. For example, there is a contact form on the homepage as well on the website. So if you're an operator and you want to get in touch, by all means do that. We'd love to connect with you, love to talk to you. We could be creating something together, and also just make sure that your listing really represents the values and the vibe, the principles that you want to share with people so they can self-select in order to come to your community. So not only will you be able to get more residents, but also the right type to really strengthen your community even further, right, Gareth?
Exactly. So Otti, as well as helping people find their next co-living space, is a great discovery tool for connecting operators with the right customers, the people that really live co-living values, right? Rather than a transient sort of traveler who doesn't really care about the community vibe that much. Instead, you're going to get really good warm leads to come and stay in your co-living spaces. People that really suit and are really aligned with the kind of people in the community you want to build. So Otti does both sides of the equation, and we're here to help the co-living operators and digital nomads and co-living residents find their next space.
Exactly. And if you're looking for your next space, all you need to do is just head over to Colivly.ai and talk to Adi, and you will get the suggestions, the pointers, and you can just have a chat. And if nothing else, do it for the puns. If you enjoy otter puns, then you will enjoy that regardless. So by all means, go there and let us know when you use it. Let us know you've been using it. We also have a bit of a special promotion for the first few people that actually make bookings through the platform. So simply let us know that you made a booking and we'd love to talk to you. So definitely reach out if you're using it and give us feedback in general. Maybe there's some other feature you'd love to see and it's not there yet. Let us know. We are building this with the community for the community. So talk to us and be happy to talk. We're doing this because we know how important it is to really interact, be together as digital nomads or with digital nomads. And some other big piece of news is that we'll be quite active this summer. We'll be around, we'll be going to some events. In particular, Gareth will be joining the Nomad Fest. So, if you're in Europe or if you don't mind going to Europe, let us know because we may be meeting each other in person at the Nomad Fest, which is in June in Bansko and in Bansko, Bulgaria. And we'll be going to some other events as well with other digital nomads. We'll be at some co-living spaces too. So definitely, if you're in Europe and you want to connect, again, reach out. We'd love to meet you in person because we are doing this because we're part of the community. This is not like a corporate play to try and monetize an industry from a corporate point of view, transactional point of view. We are co-living residents, should I say long-term co-living residents. We combine over a decade in co-living spaces. We know how beautiful and awesome this lifestyle is, and we want to make it more accessible for other people as well. Right, Gareth?
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be really good to meet people face to face in Bansko this summer and any other events after that. But yeah, come and say hi. If you're going to be in Bansko at the Nomad Fest, it'd be really great come and have a chat with us.
Exactly. And just to wrap up on this topic, yes, we can tell you being in co-living spaces is life-changing and life-shaping as well, should I say. Life constantly changes, but the people you surround yourself with are really going to be very, very relevant in the way your life is going to be shaped. So you want to choose where to be, you want to choose who to be with. You don't want to just let randomness dictate everything. And as I said, it's beautiful to be spontaneous and have a bit of unpredictability in life. But at the same time, if you're on a path, if you're on a journey, if you know what direction you want to take, you want to be consistent in where you live as well. Few things in life really shape our lives more than where we live and who we live with. So that's why we build this. In general, whether or not you use Colivly.ai, we really love the idea of having people having more and more opportunities to make intentional decisions and not just live in a place because they couldn't find a place to live anywhere else, or because they just ended up in a particular building, or even worse, because the building looked beautiful from the outside, but it's dead from the inside. Right, Gareth?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's super important to connect with people that you connect with because it's life enhancing in every way, as Dan says. And so it's worth spending a bit of time in research and using all the tools available. Tools like Authy, of course, just to put another little promo in there, Colivly.ai. But yeah, it's very important. So make sure you pay attention to that because it can really change your life. You connect with the right people. And we hope to connect with you.
Absolutely. So do get in touch. And once again, thank you so much for being here today. It's been great to have you here. And what we'll be doing is we will be back very, very soon to talk about co-living. So if you've been following us for a while, or if this is the first time you're here, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you follow the channel, make sure you come back because we'll be talking more and more about co-living and everything related to it. So we really look forward to seeing you in our next episode.